At 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
If you blinked, you missed it. Another weekend of political bombshells sending shockwaves through the political landscape here in our country. Good evening and thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. On Sunday, President Joe Biden made it official, announcing he would not seek re-election and would step aside to support his running mate, Vice President Kamala Harris, for the Democratic presidential nomination.
Vice President Harris wasted little time in getting the ball rolling on her campaign to be the next president. Harris visited her new campaign headquarters this afternoon in Delaware, fighting to make her claim for the Democratic nomination.
So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election.
Now, Vice President Harris set a new fundraising record in her first 24 hours as a presidential candidate. Just before we came on the air, the Associated Press reported Harris had secured more than enough delegates needed to win the vote for the Democratic nomination. That does not officially take place until the DNC next month.
Connecticut's delegates among those voting to endorse Vice President Harris. The state's delegation to the DNC voted tonight in favor of Harris, amounting to 74 delegates and 5 alternates. Members of state leadership are also throwing their support behind the vice president, calling her the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in November.
She is one tough lady, and she is going to carry this banner with integrity and intellect in a way that I think is going to set a real model for our politics going forward.
She said she needs to earn it. They're on the phones and calling. They have to get to all the delegates to get the delegate support. I believe she will be the nominee of our party, and we need to rally around her.
Then you have the Republican Party and voters who are very vocal about their opposition to President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris.
And this evening in Harwinton, one Republican state senator met with constituents to talk about what's to come with November's election on the horizon. Fox 61's Kaylee Collins joins us in studio with their message. Kaylee.
Well, Brent, Sarah, while several Democrats, including those Connecticut lawmakers you mentioned, have publicly expressed their support for Kamala Harris since President Biden announced that he'd be stepping down, Republicans have some other thoughts. While some criticize Kamala Harris, others have raised questions over Biden's fitness for office. In an unprecedented move, President Joe Biden announced Sunday he would not run for re-election and step away from seeking the 2024 Democratic presidential nomination. The president said it would be in the best interest of both his party and the country to give up his candidacy. Shortly after announcing his decision, he endorsed his running mate, Kamala Harris. Some are celebrating his choice.
When you're not performing at your best, you can hurt other people around you, and that's kind of brave enough for him to acknowledge that he's not at his best.
Others have concerns over President Biden's fitness for office for the remainder of his term and how the Democratic Party will ultimately select a new candidate. In Harwinton, local Republican senators and representatives met with constituents on Monday night, laying out plans for the local legislative season and offering their thoughts on where the presidential race now sits.
Running a campaign and being the commander-in-chief of the United States, I can only imagine the amount of pressure that brings to any person. Though State Senator Henry Martin told Fox 61 he's focused on Connecticut and hearing what's important to the people that he serves, there were a few concerns that he and other Republicans had after Biden's announcement. When did they know that he wasn't capable of being the president of the United States, and who was running the country while this was going on? And if they knew prior to the convention, then why didn't they allow a primary to take place? Republicans on Capitol Hill have blatantly called for Biden to resign, arguing that if he's unable to remain the Democratic presidential nominee, it's likely he's unable to finish out his term. Now, Biden says he does intend to complete his term and address the nation at some point later this week. As for Kamala Harris, the Democratic National Convention kicks off in Chicago in less than a month from now, where it's likely that she will be voted as the party's presidential nominee. In studio tonight, Kaylee Collins, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Kaylee. Well, all new tonight here at 10, a new Quinnipiac University poll's hot off the press. It's giving us our first glimpse of how American voters feel about the new matchup.
Quinnipiac releasing its first presidential poll in a month, which includes the multitude of major events that have happened in this presidential race. Among them, a new head-to-head matchup of the candidates, as we said, Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. And Quinnipiac says due to the margin of error, there is no clear candidate pulling ahead. 49% of voters support former President Donald Trump. 47% support now Democratic candidate for president, current Vice President Kamala Harris.
Other notable findings here. Well, most respondents say President Biden made the right choice when he dropped out of the race. 62% of voters to 27%. Among Democrats, 54% of people say they support the decision. There was not a major change in President Biden's approval rating either, sitting at a negative 39% compared to June's 38.
And as for Donald Trump, Quinnipiac asked voters how the assassination attempt against the former president affected their view of him. 53% say it's the same as before. 30% say it makes them think more favorably of him. Now, this is certainly just the beginning of what's to come. Looking ahead to November, Connecticut's news station has you covered with the latest developments from the campaign trail and the candidates, plus reaction from our state leaders and others around the country. Stay up to date anytime using the free Fox 61 News app. All right, turning to the weather now. Some showers across the state tonight, a sample of what we can expect for really much of the week.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a first look at the forecast. Rachel, where's the rain?
We've got a few showers right now in southern Connecticut, southeastern Connecticut, and I think these will only continue to grow in coverage, and you might hear a few heavier downpours while we sleep as well, and that's going to be the name of the game as we head through the next few days. As Brent mentioned, there's more where this came from. I think as we head through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll see off and on showers and storms, although it won't rain the entire time. In fact, the round that comes through tonight, the worst will be overnight while we're sleeping. So that timing works out really well. May still be a bit damp for the morning commute tomorrow. On Wednesday, we're looking at occasional showers. You might have to alter some of your plans or bring an umbrella along with you. And there might be more numerous showers and storms heading into Thursday afternoon, and some of those could pack a punch. So we'll be watching that down the line. We are widening out the view here, and you'll see more numerous showers and even a few rumbles of thunder to the south and west of us. Right now, we're looking at temperatures that are in the 70s, but overnight lows will be near 70 as we head towards daybreak. Again, a bit damp for the morning commute with a few showers, but the heaviest rain should be over with for the morning commute, so no big issues expected there. Otherwise, it's mostly cloudy, highs near 80 with the chance for an isolated pop-up shower or storm as we head into tomorrow evening. We're going to talk more about this few rounds that are on the way in the days ahead coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. A Fox 61 follow-up now. Tenants of an Avon apartment complex tell us they've reached a boiling point after an apartment fire in April left dozens displaced.
3 months later, they say there's no word on when they can move back, and they say there's been no progress on repairs to the building for weeks now.
Fox 61's Jay Garcia talked to a resident who is demanding answers, and he joins us live from Avon now with her message. Jay.
Well, Brent and Sarah, Elizabeth Graves has called Avon Place Apartments home for years, and she says she still doesn't know when she'll be able to move back in or access this fire-damaged building that's still filled with people's belongings.
It's just interesting to me that in the emails that we do get when they send them, they're like, oh, everything's progressing nicely, but I'm still seeing panels off of heating units, that ceiling's not fixed.
Windows open.
Windows open, so I don't know.
The Avon Place Apartments building, still scarred after a fire back in April, left dozens of people displaced. Tenants say frustration is mounting over the lack of communication from property management in recent weeks.
Most of us still have belongings here. This is not an empty building. This is a building that still is inhabited by the people who are paying rent here.
Graves says families are trying to prepare for the upcoming school year, and not having any answers makes things more complex.
So with us having families and the children getting ready to start school at the end of August, we need to have a plan of what's going to happen. How are they going to get to and from school?
Management tells Fox 61 the severe delay is due to asbestos testing and blames the state for the prolonged shutout. In a phone call, management says the allegations are false and that the office sends regular updates to residents, and that tenants have not been required to pay rent since the fire. But Graves says she knows tenants that have had to pay rent while dealing with hotel costs too. Graves says tenants need help from the state for answers.
We need that support to say, hey, this has been 3 months, we're not getting information. We need somebody to come in and try to at least work things out for us because we feel like we're powerless.
And when I spoke to the owner a few hours ago, he did tell me that that they do plan to have the far left side of the building open and have residents move back in who have apartments on the far left side on the first and second floor in the coming days. Now, Attorney General William Tong's office says that they have been contacted by a number of tenants and are actively looking into the situation. Reporting live in Avon, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Jake, thank you. And new from Winchester tonight, police have a man in custody accused of stealing a woman's vehicle and threatening her at gunpoint. The carjacking happened early Saturday morning. Officers say a woman approached them saying her car had been taken by force on Elm Street, and police say they were able to find the car on Hinsdale Avenue and the suspect, 48-year-old Scott Blass. He was arrested on a litany of charges, including robbery, criminal possession of a firearm, and strangulation. He's being held on a $1.5 million bond. Our desk has reached out to Winchester Police to see if Blass is the only suspect in the case, and for more details on the assault charges. We're still waiting on that information.
Tonight, we've just learned a 16-year-old has been arrested linked to a supposed racist threat. And in less than 24 hours, the community will discuss the incident at a town council meeting. Last week, we told you the superintendent of Glastonbury Public Schools warned the community about racist threats made by a high school student. The teenager is accused of making a threat against the school on the social media app Discord. They had posted on another teen's account. That profile also had references to the KKK, Hitler, and included death threats towards African Americans. The teen is facing a litany of charges.